So you need to be thinking about not what do you do right now, but how are you building your credibility for the recovery? So whatever you do, know what your demand is and price it logically with value and price it ethically.
Awesome.
And that's the way you should be doing it all the time, actually. Don't let the demand decline distract you from doing what's right from a pricing perspective.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think to your point too, providing value, and whether that's, packaging with a restaurant packaging, or just offering experiences, offering content around what can guests do, I think will help them provide value, whether it's, as part of that dedicated local page, whether it's some additional things, whether it's in a pre-stay email. But the more, you're spot on, I think the more value we give our hotel guests, the more likely we are to recover quicker. One of the other things we're seeing a lot of success with is things around limited time offers, right? Special short-term offers to try and capture, hey, if you book by, doing things, limited time offers around whether it's holidays, whether it's just special events or incentives in the short term to get people to travel. We're seeing a lot of things around being flexible, providing some different guarantees. Like what kind of flexibility and guarantees do you think right now is most important to get people, to get our customers to actually book?
It's a good question. And definitely there's a lot of time sensitive offers out there right now that the cruise industry is just ramping up on what we're going to see a long tail of time sensitive offers for them. But for hotels, I think like the airlines, I think we can assume that any type of non-refundable, rate type is going to be obsolete for most hotels in most markets for the foreseeable future. The sentiment studies, again, say customers want flexibility. And I think we've got to be able to adapt to that. You can have a promotion that has a deadline, but I think when you start getting into the things we historically have done, that's a non-refundable advance purchase type of rate, I think those probably aren't going to sell very well because people want to just maintain flexibility. And candidly, unless you're in a really high demand time, you probably shouldn't be doing that anyways. But if you got plenty of rooms to spare, you're going to be able to be flexible. Your operations people and your forecast people may not like it, but the reality is that's going to be the landscape we're going to be dealing with for most market segments for the foreseeable future. So just, again, learn how to adapt and be flexible around that to get the conversion, but expect the fact that things could change, whether it's meetings and conventions business, which continues to be rebooked and rebooked and rebooked, or it's a corporate business trip that gets rescheduled and rescheduled and rescheduled, or a leisure person that wants the flexibility to come from the 4th of July to the 10th of July. We just need to be prepared for that.
So the last component of the recovery framework is building trust. And I'm just going to go through quickly this time, just kind of about, there's a lot of different things I think we can do to improve trust. One of the things we're seeing is having a lot of signage, having a lot of visibility when the guest is on property, right? So you see like QR codes for menus or QR codes with details on their policies. I know a lot of hotels have removed, the magazines and all the extra stuff from the rooms and just have kind of basic experience, basic information to improve the experience. Curious, Bob, from your perspective, what are some other ways do you think that hotels can communicate and build that trust with their guests, both pre, during, and then post-stay?
Well, I'm glad you brought up the topic, Tammy, because trust is really going to be important. It's at the top of a lot of these sentiment surveys that customers want to go somewhere where they can feel like they're in a trusted environment. But at the same time, marketers need to keep in mind, trust is not a checklist. You can say, these are the 10 things I'm going to do and I will have accomplished it. Trust is a perception that people create about your product or your service over time. And it's like, for branded hotels, it's especially tough because as good as your hotel may be, if you've got one bad apple in the brand, it may tarnish the trust of that brand. And so you still got to stand on your own that make your customers trust you for at least the extent of their experience. But again, if you're in the pre-booking funnel, you still have to be visible and promote the things that will portray the fact that you've done all the right things to gain their trust. When they're on site, you have the chance to actually, capitalize on that and prove that you can do it. And then hopefully post-visit, they're going to talk about it and help exude, if you will, that aura of trust that you want about your specific property. But trust is a journey. It's not a checklist you can just go and do it one at a time. I think people are looking for the authenticity of the experience. You talked about experience before. They're looking for that professional communication, particularly pre-arrival. They want to see empowered employees that can solve simple issues. And then you got to deliver on those promises. I mean, those are some of the things that, will earn you trust over time.